Paranormal Dimensions is a regular feature on Mondays on the Paranormal UK Radio Network.
Hello, this is Philip Kinsella, and you're listening to the Paranormal UK Radio Network, the UK's biggest paranormal network, and this is Paranormal Dimensions with David Young.
Hello, welcome to the show. Thanks for that intro, Philip. Before we kick off what was that? Shut up. Before we kick off on the show, I'm just going to introduce who you just heard in the background there, Sacha Christie. She's joining me today as a guest presenter. You heard her. Don't worry, someone dropped a clanger.
Yeah, it will have been me.
Anyway, hello Sacha, how you doing?
Hi darling, hello everyone.
Nice of you to join me today, and we're going to be speaking to Chris Garcia, who's a clairvoyant medium from the US. I think he lives in San Antonio, is it, or is it Las Vegas? I can't remember. Nice. We'll ask him in a minute anyway. But before we do kick off, if you've been listening to my last two shows, I've been reading out some UFO reports from someone who wants to remain anonymous. He's like an armed police officer. He's given himself the name of Jasper. He's called himself a local shift worker. But I'm just going to read out the third part of this letter. You're going to find all of it in the Outer Limits magazine, because I've sent the article in for Chris Evers. Right, now this bit here is from the 4th of December 2019, 05:10 in the morning. I was on Thornton Beach at approximately 04:40. The sky was very clear with no clouds. I was watching the stars and the odd satellite pass over, although I'm not 100% sure that they are satellites, as I mentioned previously on the 29th of November 19. At about 5:10 I noticed a small bright light lower than these satellites, just as I thought how it was very similar to the lights I saw on 29th of November 19. Another appeared on the same course, and then another. They were just the same as before, but this time not coming in and changing direction, just dropping in from high above, getting brighter and bigger, and then heading out to sea. There were much more. I think he's typo here. They were much more this time, and through binoculars I watched as some were going quicker than others, catching them up and overtaking. Then when doing this, they didn't go past with a gap. They just must have stayed above or below as they briefly merged as one light. It's quite odd how they are all in a line heading the same way, and it looks bizarre as they disappear out to sea. I kept a rough count, and there were easily 60 or 70, probably more. The light was a continuous white with a touch of blue and didn't flicker or flash at all. That's Jasper, local shift worker. As I said, he's in a sensitive job, so I don't know what you make of that, Sacha.
When did you see that, David? When did you see that?
This was on the 4th of December 2019. Very early in the morning, yeah. What it was, he got in touch with me. I don't know if you've heard the story, but he got in touch with me.
I've had two people come to me saying that they've seen multiple white UFOs, I put them together in a messenger. I've created one for them to talk, and it's very, very recent. I also seen an article in the newspaper. Not in the newspaper, in an online news outlet, that another guy had seen all these white orbs, and I sent that article to my two friends who said they'd seen them. So I've got two people that I know, and an article and it's all within, probably about 5 or 6 weeks ago, so around about the same time.
So that's over your side of the country, up in Liverpool.
No, there was in Newcastle and, where's Lisa?
We're still what I call your area. It's still
different parts of the country. Different parts of the country, yeah, but, people have seen the same thing, but in different parts of the country, that's very interesting.
This is East Anglia where I live, so it's, reason he got in touch with me is he heard a couple of my shows on the Paranormal Dimensions thing, and,
Lisa's in Manchester, so it's Manchester, Newcastle. Yeah.
Right.
Sorry for interrupting.
No, that's all right. I just thought it sounds a little bit like Paul's reports, isn't it? Paul Sinclair up a little bit north in East Yorkshire. But anyway, I've sent them all off to Chris, and he's going to put them together in the magazine, so you'll see the lot. But I just thought it was quite interesting that he didn't want his name sort of brought into it or anything. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we've
not attention seeking.
No, it doesn't seem to be. I mean, I'm waiting to hear if I'm going to hear anything more from him, or is he just going to disappear off the face of the earth and won't hear any more at all? But there you go.
I'll send to you what I know of my two friends, and then you can throw it towards Chris or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. It's definitely do that. I think we'd better invite our guest in because he's sitting there waiting patiently.
Yeah.
Anyway, Chris Garcia is in the United States and he's a clairvoyant medium. He's been on quite a few shows recently, so we should waste no more time, but let's introduce Chris. Hello, Chris.
Hello, David. It's an honor to be on your show.
Hello, Chris. It's nice. Welcome to the show. And Sacha is with us today as a guest.
Hi, Chris.
Hi.
Is the guest presenter. She probably knows a lot more about this subject than I do, so I may well just let her sit back and let her get on with it, but we'll see.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, I don't know who she is, but you can add me on Facebook because I don't know who she is.
Yeah, no, I think you're already I think you're already friends on Facebook, aren't you?
You sent me a friend request a while ago. You probably
Did you send me a friend request?
No, I don't send them. You sent me one.
Oh, because I still got room, so if you want to accept it, you can. It's up to you.
No, we are already connected on Facebook.
Anyway, confusion straight away.
Yeah. Yeah, we are connected on Facebook already, Chris.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, you've been on quite a few shows recently, I understand, doing clairvoyance and, is it tarot and all that sort of stuff you do?
Yes, I've been on several shows. I just did one last night. Sometimes my feed pops up whenever I do shows.
Right.
As a guest also. And then the newest thing that I have is that I have my own show too on a different network. So I have guests.
Yeah.
And then sometimes we'll just talk about whatever. The show has like no filters to where you can talk about anything. There's nothing that cannot be discussed. So that's something that I started for the new year, I started with a new year with a bang. I never expected that, and to me, I can say that it was a blessing to just, for them to welcome me because they already knew me. The producers already knew me. So they already knew my reputation for all the readings I've done on another network, which I'm not on that one no more. But they said, you know what, we have always watched you, we've seen you work in action. And they said, well, we want to have you as a host. And, so it was something, interesting. And they said, well, I want you to think about it. So when we were on the phone, I thought about it. And they said, well, you can give us, a week notice. And instead of, just thinking about it for a while, I noticed that I just, in my head, I said yes. I just told him right away. I said, yeah, I would love to. And then we started talking about the banner, what the name of the show was going to be, and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I don't know. So it just really, that's really what it kind of like varies.
Yeah.
So that's the newest thing that's been going on. I still do volunteer for missing persons cases. I do paranormal work also. And that's volunteer. I don't charge for those services. I do charge for the readings, but it's pretty reasonable. I don't charge for an expensive price. And sometimes I'll do freebies freebie readings. So it really varies, and I think from last year to this year, I've grown rapidly. Everybody's been saying that I've been just really busy. I want to say I'm going on 3 years being on the radio. First show was back in March of 2017, I believe. And it's been I've been on YouTube. I was interviewed by different people. They even had a TV show that was on Skype, but they had me for 2 hours and I was doing readings. And it's funny because they Skyped me from here to the studio in New York. So I've been around.
So, well, tell us about your early beginnings. I mean, how did you discover your powers at an early age?
Yes, I want to say like at the age of 5, I knew that I was, I actually thought that everybody could go through this or everybody could see this. And then as time went on, as me a child, I knew that I was confirmed that everybody could see what I do see. And, so yeah, it was just amazing to know that, to see what was going on. And then, sorry, that dog was coming back and forth. A lot
of sound effects in the back there.
Yeah, it's a dog. He's just moving around a lot. So, but anyways, sorry about that.
That's right.
But the thing is just, yeah, it's been an awesome journey, and I know I've been told by many people they see me growing more and more rapidly. So from the time I started, it's been just with my spiritual gifts, it's, I see it as a passion. I mean, most people would see it as, is it a career to you? To me, I see it as a passion. Yes, don't get me wrong, I do love it. It's something not to where I'm like, I have to do this. No, I love what I do, and it's very, angelic. It's very connected to the divine. And I love it. I really, really do. It's just, I have a passion for what I do, and I give it all my best every time I'm on the shows, and I guess my readings speak for themselves if you've been watching me. But yeah, I've been really busy this past year. Yeah. And by the way, so in case if people want to know, the show that I have, it's called the Housewalker Files. Okay, that's the name of the show, and it's on the Global Enlightenment Radio Network.
Global Enlightenment.
So if you want to,
yeah. Okay. What we'll do, Chris, when this show goes out next week, I'll put some links on my Paranormal Dimensions page for it all anyway, for anyone that's interested. So, have you got any, Sacha, let's bring you in. You got anything,
Yeah, I was wondering what, you said that you were 5 years old when something first happened to you. What actually happened?
I guess I just was connected to spirits, like at that age. And then when I started, I guess you can say when I started doing it more like public, I want to say, even though I was going to school, I think people acknowledge me more when I want to say it was something.
But what I'm talking about is you said that you started interacting with spirit. So I was wondering in what way, what happened? I mean, I can tell you that my first experience with spirit properly was when I saw my grandparents walk past me. When I previously believed that my granddad was not dead, that they were lying to me, and that he'd gone on a secret mission because he was MOD police, so he worked for the Ministry of Defence. So I had to convince myself that he'd gone off on a secret mission and that they were all lying to me. And so they both walked past me to show me that he was actually dead. At that point then, obviously, I knew that my granddad had died because I'd seen him with my grandma and I'd seen her die. So, that was my first experience. I wondered what yours was.
Well, I was talking to my spirit guide, which I called an imaginary friend. So that was my first experience at the age of 5. And then the last experience that I had was when I was, because of course San Antonio, Texas has a lot of history to it. Like, soldiers, so they were like laying down and they were like already, they had this way of, the way they came out in the picture, they came out like they were crawling, because they felt like they were threatened. And that's how they usually do, how when they're going to war, they crawl and they blend in with everything around them. But I saw that, I took maybe I say about 30 pictures, and before you know it, my camera died. So I knew that they were connecting with me. I had 2 phones with me, and I was able to take 2 or 3 pictures. And again, I took, pictures, and my phone died. So I was like, wow, these guys have some tremendous energy. And then after that same day, I saw an apparition, full solid. He was wearing, I want to say 1950s, I say. He had a hat, he almost looked like a private investigator. He waved at me, and my friend's like, who are you waving at? And I'm like, well, there's that man over there. He's waving at us. And she's like, where? I say, oh, they're by the red tips. She's like, I don't see anybody. So after that, I guess she was like, that's when she didn't know who I was. And I told her, well, I see the dead, they speak to me. And, so yeah, I had that one time where I even went to, after that I guess I scared her. So what happened is after that, she goes, you know what, I need to go to the restroom. I'll be right back. So she went to go do that. So I, being psychic and then having my little investigator knowledge and stuff like that, I went to go and check it out. So I went to go look, and when I was talking to her, I went back to see where that man was, to see if he was still there. He disappeared. Right after she was talking to me, and I told her I could see him waving at us. Right when I turned my head, I guess not even 2 minutes later, he disappeared. So like I said, I went to go investigate, and I looked at the building. There was the tips leaning against the building. So I thought, well, maybe there's a restroom so you can go to the side. So when I went up to the building, I noticed that there was not even in space, space to where sometimes, how there's restrooms to where you can go to the side and then you just swerve to, to the right. Well, when I looked, there was nowhere where he could go. So then I said, okay, well, who was I talking to? So there was 2 buildings. So then I went further up, and there's this wall. So I looked at the wall, and I'm thinking, okay, there's 2 walls, all around me. And I'm like, where did this guy go? So then I turned to my right, and there's this gate door, and on the other side was a wall. So I was like, I kind of figured that I was talking to spirit because he disappeared. It was just in a matter of seconds, and he waved at me. And people were not even acknowledging him because they passed by him. And I'm like, he's pointing at me. So I guess he knew that that he knew I was, I guess, a medium because he could see me. And he disappeared. And as a matter of fact, I looked into it, and I found out that that man that I saw has hidden treasure in the Alamo, somewhere buried where he was standing. Really? But the only funny thing is, yes, there's concrete where he was standing. So it must have been somewhere where the buildings, I guess they built it. So I don't know if he remembers. And to this day, I still believe he's looking for his treasure. So
interesting.
Yeah,
so
quite a detailed story there.
I saw on your Facebook that you've been on a few TV shows. One of them, there was the Dead Files. Have you been on that?
Oh no, not the Dead Files. I've never been on that. I have the T-shirt.
The T-shirt, right?
That's one of my favorite shows. As a matter of fact, Amy Allen is the one that I look up to. Besides Chip Coffey, I already met Chip. That was maybe even. I want to say I met him 15 years ago, I guess, because he came down, he was doing a coffee tour, and I didn't get a reading from him. I just wanted to meet him because he was one of my number one, psychics that I like to watch. So I actually got to talk to him, and I gave him a hug, and I said, you know what, Chip, I admire you for what you do, and I gave him a bracelet, as a matter of fact, with his name on it. I gave him a hug, and I was wearing a scarf, as a matter of fact, that I, got from a friend of mine because I did a reading for her way before I met him, and I wore the scarf. But the entire time that I was there, I never asked him for a reading. I got a chance to talk to him, and after that we took pictures, and I was there for maybe about 3 hours. And then after that I had to come home because there was a package that he had, and there was 2 packages, and I only got the VIP 2, which means I was able to meet him and meet and greet. And then there was another package that said after the gallery, you were able to investigate with him, but I couldn't do that because my mom had to work. So I had to just, shake his hand. I said, nice meeting you and stuff like that. And then what was so weird when I met him, I say maybe about, I have to look at the date. It's on my Facebook, but it's been a while since I met him. After that, I started doing readings, of course, on Facebook. And then I guess 2017, I just said, I can't do this anymore. I can't keep quiet. And then I've been on the radio ever since. And I believe that ever since I met him, I feel like he opened the doors for me. Just, because one of my friends told me that when you meet somebody like that that's been on TV and radio, he's like a person that you look up to and that you exchange energy. So when I met him, I must have exchanged, he must have given me some of his energy to what he was doing. And then after, I guess, 15 years later, it opened doors for me, and I've been on the radio since.
So in your clairvoyancy, do you have problems keeping people from the other side out? I mean, how do you handle that?
Honestly, for me, I'm not the type of psychic that ever shuts myself down. I'm always open, because I know people always have to have their switch off. For me, I've always been in tune since I was little. So I'm very aware of my surroundings during the day, during the night, even when I'm doing yard work, normal routine stuff. But how do I deal with the spirits? They just talk to me no matter where I'm at. If I'm out eating somewhere with family, they always pop out of nowhere. So how do I really, I still, don't get me wrong, I do have boundaries with them, especially if I'm really busy or something. I just tell them, come back to me, at a later time. But most of the time I get with them right when I talk to them, and I say, what can I help you with? Who do you want me to relay a message to? And then most of the time when I'm connecting with them, I guess maybe a few days later, I connect with the person that wants the reading. And then when I notice that when I do the reading, the person that I was talking to of the deceased is connected to that person. And I've always known that every single time, either I talk to someone or I'll have premonitions, say for example, if I had a premonition 2 nights before, the following day, if I have a reading, I find out that every premonition or visions I have to do with the clients.
Right. Because I don't know how you feel, Sacha. I always wonder about clairvoyance, how they actually deal with it for people sort of wanting to talk to them all the time from the other side.
Well, you do have to set your boundaries. You have to tell them. You can actually literally have office hours, and I know that there's a lot of people that I know who unintentionally they gather them around them. They not just people that they know, but because they're kind of attractive to spirit. In the mediums that have locked themselves down, or psychics that just ignore their abilities. And I had a friend in Leeds who there was all sorts going on in her house, and I said to her, you need to clear it out because you've attracted them all. So I said, listen, off. She did a cleansing and it all stopped. A thermostat was, being messed with. All kinds of things were going on. So there's a lot of that. If you don't shut yourself down, you can encounter problems, because if you kind of exposed to spirit all the time, they have an energy about them that it's the opposite of ours, that it's dead energy, we're living energy, and you can become poorly, you can take on the illnesses of the deceased. And in some cases, in one case I've heard of a woman started to actually look like a murdered woman. That she was, in close proximity to every single day because the spirit was in her house. There's a lot of dangers to being a medium. Illnesses,
Yeah, I know.
Usually the illnesses of the deceased.
But what I do is I put protection over myself, but I do have protection over myself, so I'm pretty well grounded. I know that you're concerned, but I protect myself, so I know how to deal with that because I've always known.
Yeah.
I'm very careful
Did you ever have any problems?
Careful.
Did you ever have any problems, though, Chris, in your early years?
Honestly, as a child, no, not really. I've never had anything that was malevolent or anything evil, which I've been blessed. I've always been able to connect with angelic spirits or stuff like that. I have never encountered anything that's demonic or anything like that. I guess it's because my grandma or the way I was raised, I just feel like I was always protected because my grandma was a medicine woman, so she did a lot of remedies and a lot of spiritual prayers. So I know that when she was alive, she did a lot of protection.
Yeah, you get protected from the other side, sort of.
Yes, yeah. And then now that she's on the other side, I know she's protecting me even more. So, with those illnesses, I know that I'm very aware that, yes, it can be dangerous being a medium. But I look at it this way. Yes, I agree to a point, but then I disagree. Because the reason why is because the way I see it, we're here for a reason. This is God's work. We here as light workers, He sends His angelic people that He knows before you even create it. He picks every single medium, every person, psychic. He picks them before you even get here. So He knows what you're capable of, and I do feel that as long as you stay in the light and you don't provoke the spirits, like if there's an evil spirit at a cemetery, if you guides tell you not to go, you don't go. And unless if you provoke them or if you try to harass them, yes, then you can put yourself in danger and you'll get something attached to you. But as long as I feel that you stay in the light and you believe and have faith in God, nothing can happen to you. The only one that can actually take you is God and nothing else.
Have you ever lived in a haunted house?
Honestly, out of my whole life, no. I've never in a haunted house, never. I've done investigations with people, but never been lived in a haunted house. And it's funny that you mentioned that because some psychics, when they're born, some of them are usually lived in a haunted house or was brought up in a haunted house or experiences paranormal phenomenon. But with me, I guess I was just always the paranormal found me and I found the paranormal, so it was kind of like a exchange energy. And then along with my gifts, I feel even though I never was brought up in a haunted house, it seems like the dead knew who I was, because I guess, all my protectors up there told him, well, this is a medium, he's a psychic, so if you need to talk to him, tell him what you need to say. So
I grew up in a haunted house. And I've lived in three haunted houses in my life. And each time I go into a haunted house, the activity goes off the scale. It's like if you're a haunted person and you go into a house that's haunted, it's like World War III.
Yeah, and it's funny how you said that if I've been on Dead Files. Well, I'm going to give you something. It's so weird that you mentioned that because I see everything as a sign, as a confirmation. So that tells me, I'm not saying that I will be on the Dead Files, but that tells me that just with what you said, Spirit was coming through you, and you asked me if I was on Dead Files. So that's telling me that everybody that has known me for many, many, many years, and even to the people that follow me now, to this day, they still say they see me on TV. So with what you said, that gives me confirmation that sometime this year I will be on TV, because that's just, to me, with what you said, I ain't gonna lie to you. You gave me chills just even asking me that. So when I told you that that I've never been on Dead Files, that already tells me Spirit is going through you and saying, okay, well, I'm gonna ask Chris if he's been on Dead Files. Well, you didn't know anything about me. So the fact that you said that tells me that I will be on something similar to Dead Files, or have a TV show similar to what she does. So I just wanted to share thank you for giving me that confirmation.
Wasn't that a t-shirt, Sacha?
Yeah.
So it's gone round in a circle, really. You saw Chris wearing a t-shirt.
No, well, if he's that good, then he'll probably get picked up by one of the networks.
Yeah.
I like, I've forgotten his surname. He does that Help My House Is Haunted. Wow, hello, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
I've forgotten his last name. I could kick myself.
Help
I like
My House
him.
Is Haunted. I don't know that.
Yeah.
Is that an American show?
No,
Well,
it's actually British, but he's American.
No, I don't know that show.
Anyway, he's great. I like him. I love Amy Allen. I have no idea how she stands her ground with the things that she says that she sees. Mm-hmm. I think that woman must have been to hell and back. A lot of people, a lot of psychics, we have trouble with, mental health issues because, you get so frightened as a child, you're seeing all these things. Well, obviously when I saw my grandma and granddad, it didn't frighten me when I saw them, but afterwards it totally freaked me out. Mm-hmm. And I lived in a haunted house. I had an experience before I saw them, and I was a bit of a weirdo as a child, as you might imagine. I went into our bathroom, and we lived in a cottage that was 300 years old, and I stood and I stared in the mirror. I didn't know, but it was scrying, and that's what I was doing, and it was natural inclination to just do that in the dark. And my face changed lots of times and settled on an old man with white hair, a white beard, and like a bootlace for a tie. Our house was, it had the stocks where they used to put people in the stocks. So I think our house was something to do with the judgment of who they put in these stocks, which were basically on the little hill at the side of our house.
Was it witch trials or something? Was it?
I don't think anything like that went on in that village. But, just, troubles, like in Bradford, which is just sort of 20, well, not even 20, about 15 miles away from Leeds. You go into Bradford and there was the ducking stool where they would put unruly women on the ducking stool. You didn't have to be a witch to get ducked. You just had to be unruly. So, that did go on.
Yeah, and I'm going to give you another confirmation. I just remembered something, and this was because I've been a big fan of Amy Allen, and this was maybe about 2 years. I want to say about 2 years. It was this friend of mine. Well, I don't even know if she's on Facebook. Her name's Happy. That's her real name.
Sorry, what name was that?
And Happy. Her name was Happy.
Happy.
Her name was and. So I had asked, this was when I was doing Facebook Live, but Facebook Live, you can do it, but now you can't, what do you call it? Oh yeah, you can't, interact with it because now that Facebook took that feature out to where people can see your live, but you can't interact with them anymore. So it's, in other words, so if you want to do like a live session with somebody, it doesn't give you that. The only way you can do it is unless if you're on the radio show or you have Zoom or anything like that, but now they took that feature off. Well, anyway, I was on there one day and I asked everybody in the chat room on my Facebook, and I said, well, I want an Amy Allen custom made necklace that she made. So when I put that on there, I told them, I said, if you do it, you can get maybe like a month or 2 months of free readings for me, right? So after that, my friend Happy came on and she was like, wow, that's kind of interesting. So then she called me after the live and she says, you know what, I'm going to see what I can do. I do have connections and people go to public events. So guess what happened? She met this guy that she knew. He follows a lot of people in the paranormal, including Amy Allen. And it happened to be that he had gone to an event to go and see her, and it was only, I guess, $20 to go and pay. So my friend said, you know what, if you can do this for me, I'll pay you, so that was between her and her friend. So he went, he said that it was a very, very long line to see her and get pictures with her. And when it was coming to his turn, she asked him, she goes, "Can I help you?" And then she says, he goes, do you have any custom-made necklaces? And she goes, "Yeah, they're right here." And then she goes, "I'm coming for a friend of mine," which is a friend of hers. His name is Chris. And then she was like, "Do you know his last name?" And she goes, "No." He goes, "No." And then what she did was she closed her eyes and she was concentrating, and she picked the necklace that she makes. And as a matter of fact, whatever she sells goes to a foundation for animals. Right? So when he bought it, she said, "Well, thank you for purchasing it. This money goes to the foundation for animal shelter or whatever." So when I got it, he sent it to her, and then he sent it to me, and then they sent me a booklet of all the people that were there. She signed a paper, says, "Thank you, Amy Allen." And it was, signed, like an autograph, "Thank you for purchasing it." And it's so weird that you say this because, I already have the necklace. As a matter of fact, I'm wearing it. And then I'm going to tell you a little something. She didn't know anything about me. She's already on my Facebook, but she didn't know anything about me when he, told her, "Well, you picked the bracelet because this is not for me, it's for him." So when she picked it, he didn't touch it, and neither did my friend, because she packed it up real good in foil, and saran wrap or some other stuff in it. So then when I received it, you should have seen this, David. When I grabbed this thing, it had some tremendous energy from her. And I knew that because I know that she makes her own custom bracelets. And she even has a website too where you can order them now, but I'm lucky to get mine because before she made this website. And what's so funny about it is that I'm wearing it as we talk. So the fact that you mentioned Amy Allen and the Dead Files, that's just mind blowing. So.
Well, synchronicity.
I know, right? That's just so weird because she's another person that I want to meet, and hopefully in God's will, I want to meet her sometime in May because I know she's going to New Jersey, but I have to work that out with my family because they told me, if I'm gonna go over there, I'm hoping to meet her because I'm a big fan of hers, and like what you said, she really blows my mind when she does all these shows, walking into people's houses, and it's amazing. She's one of the number ones that I love to watch, and I mean, I can't speak enough of her because she's just tremendously amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I think she's very brave, and I think she's very strong.
Yes.
Because I don't know what I would do if I lived in a world where I could see all those things. Well, I do live in that world. Fortunately, I don't see things like she does. I've seen other things.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah. Seen aliens, but I've not, fortunately, I don't see things crawling the wall every time I walk into a building or whatever. I mean, I get a sense of these things, but I can't see them, thankfully.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been amazing though, because I mean, like I said, I've done a lot, and I know that I'm gonna grow, and I just have so much planned, because I'm actually wanting to do public appearances. Hopefully God will. If somebody contacts me, I'm hoping to travel. That's my next thing that I want to do, besides being a guest on the radio and having my own show. So I want to start doing public appearances. So that's something that I'm considering this year to do, is travel and go interact with people. And
doing what? What would you do?
Honestly, I don't know. It depends if they know who I am. I'm hoping that maybe I have an opportunity to speak up so I can share my stories with everybody else and stuff like that. So that's something I want to do. And if I get a chance to maybe speak for like 10 minutes in a public event like that, I probably will be doing a few readings. And along that, I'll probably interact with people too and just meet a lot of people that are in the paranormal field and the psychic field as well. So that's something that I want to do, is do public appearances, maybe do a few psychic events where it's just you come and see me and you pay for a fee and stuff like that. So that's something that I'm thinking about doing in the near future. I'm also considering opportunities with TV since I've already been on TV. So that's something, another thing I want to do is make my own TV show and help people and travel, and, you know, whenever they need my assistance, then I'll have, maybe by that time I'll have an assistant to monitor my calls and schedule, you know, my events and where I'm going, and maybe make a website later in the future of where I'm going and meeting people. So that's something that I'm really putting my intent out there, that I do want to help people, and not just over the radar. I want to help people and meet them. So, yeah.
So that is your main aim. You really want to kind of get into television. Yeah. But
you said that you've been on TV. What have you been on? What show is it?
The only show I've been on was on my friend Gracie's show. That's TV, but that was in New York. So that was only because she contacted me because I read her and I was validated. So she had asked me, like, would you like to be on my show? And little did I know that her show it's broadcasted in New York. So everyone in New York, when I was on that show, saw me. And as a matter of fact, it's on, I don't know the channels. I don't remember the channels, but I know it's on DirecTV. But yeah, her channels, her studio TV show is on local New York. So I guess whoever saw me on that show knows who I am.
Could it be on YouTube, do you think?
Yes, it is. It's on YouTube.
Right.
We'll
have to have a search of YouTube, Sacha, and have a look.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's something that I love to do, and that's my next step, David, is that I want to really meet people and, you know, and travel and stuff like that. So that's my next objective, to just, you know, pray that, you know, God gives me this chance, that things that I've always wanted. 'Cause that's something I've always wanted. I love, you know, interacting with people and meeting people. So that's going to be my next step.
How about local? You live in San Antonio, don't you, in Texas?
Yeah, I mean, there's people here that I do know me. Yeah. Not everybody knows me in San Antonio, but I've gotten a pretty good reputation because I have people following me from, of course, here in San Antonio. I have people.
Do you do local events?
I have people from New York. I have people all over the place. It's just crazy. And I have pretty big followers, so, you know, it's just a matter of time before something big comes in. I've been told too that one of my friends has been on TV. I know him. He's a good friend of mine. He's real good at what he does. He's been on TV and he's been on A&E. And he told me, I think when I had him on my show, he told me, I give you about 6 months. So sometime from now to probably June, he said something big is coming for me. So all I got to do is just wait to see whatever that is.
I've got bad news for you. That big was to be on this show. No, I'm only joking, Chris. This one. No, I mean, I'll tell you, I've been to San Antonio. I went on a ghost hunt there, because San Antonio is actually quite haunted, isn't it? It's got quite a lot of haunted buildings and things there.
Yes, it does. It's got a lot of history here. Other places I wanted to go, like California, I don't know why, but I've always been drawn to California. I'm not because it's a well-known state for all the big-time people, but I've always been drawn to Alcatraz for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's just the psychic impressions that I feel from there. But I've always been drawn to California for some reason. I don't know why.
Maybe you got a past life that was on Alcatraz.
Yeah, I know. Maybe, yeah, who knows? Maybe I was a security guard. I don't know. I mean, so yeah, I do feel that there is a connection there. And then I also have a past life with New Orleans, and I already know what that connection is. But,
well, go on, tell us. I'm interested in things like that.
Yeah, me too.
Well, okay, I'm going to tell you. I mean, I can say some things, but I'm not going to give you too much of a hint. I want you to figure it out, okay?
All right.
My past life in New Orleans is I was related to one of the most powerful people in the world. As a matter of fact, people pray to her, petition her. So that gives you an idea who I am and who I was related to. And as a matter of fact, I was her daughter. I'll just leave it as that, and then you research it and you tell me if you know who I'm talking about.
Why don't you just tell me?
I'm lost. I don't know, because New Orleans, us little UK people, we
Okay,
wouldn't really know.
So you were a slave owner, or a plantation owner, or what? I was
a priest, a voodoo priest in a past life.
Voodoo priest?
I thought you just said you were a daughter, so you would have been a priestess.
I've been a priest in other lifetimes too, not just that, but I've been a priest in other lifetimes.
Okay.
So that's another thing that I've known in the past life. So yeah. But see, back then it was more, I was in that lifetime, I remember helping a lot of people. And it's so weird because in that lifetime, a lot of that energy resonates with me in this lifetime, because that's why sometimes my readings sometimes scare people, because they're like, how in the world do you know this crap? And I'm like, I can't explain. It's just something that I cannot explain. It's like, in other words, I'm so connected to the universe. It just even scares me sometimes, David. It kind of like, it amazes me, because it makes me think like that I have so much potential, so much more potential, and I have so much more work to do. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. It's just, so.
How many past lives do you think you've had?
Honestly, to really read my chart, I wouldn't know, but I want to, at least I've been here at least, just by a lucky guess, I want to say I've been here at least 100 times, reincarnated.
100?
I'm just guessing. I'm just guessing. I'm just, it could probably be more than that. I'm just giving an estimate. It could probably even be less than that, but I'm just getting an estimate of maybe I've been here 100 times in different lifetimes.
That's a lot. Yeah.
So that's a lot. So,
how many times you've been back, Sacha?
See, she's probably been here too many times that she can't even keep.
I can't even count. I have no idea.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm just guessing that I've probably been here more, but I'm just giving more or less a guess that I've probably been here 100 times, or maybe I've even been here less. I don't remember. There's certain lives that I do remember, and then there's certain lives I don't remember. So who knows? I've probably been here 2,000 times. I don't know. It's really hard to tell, because it's so weird that you mentioned that, because not all of us will remember all our lifetimes. There's only some of them that will remember, that stand out for some reason. And it's just so weird sometimes. And you know what? It's so weird. I'm going to ask y'all something, and this is for your friend that's on the show with you, David. I'm going to ask y'all a question. Yeah. And I want y'all to think about this. And I know it's not just me, because I've had other mediums that when they grew up, there's certain parts. Okay, I'm going to explain something to you. Okay, when I went to school, when I was in kindergarten, I remember everything in kindergarten. Okay, I remember everything in first grade. I remember everything in second grade. But third and fourth and fifth, it's like a blur. I don't remember anything. Well, I asked other mediums and other psychics that I know, and they said that the reason why that happens is because something traumatic happened, or something happened in our lifetime that either we blocked out or we astral projected out of our body, so we wouldn't remember that part of our life, or something happened to us, like an abduction. We were abducted by aliens or something like that. Now, I don't know about y'all too, but there's been other psychics that for some reason there's certain parts of their life as a child that they do not remember. And that's for me. I don't remember third, fourth, and fifth grade. I don't remember anything. But after 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, and 10th, 11th, and 12th, I remember, except for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Now, I want to ask y'all something. Have y'all, like in some time of your life, do you remember all your childhood, even to when you were a toddler, or there's some parts of your life that it's like you don't remember, but you just don't know why.
There's something in my later life that I can't remember much of. So I must agree with that. I mean, it seems to have been cut off from me. Yeah, I agree with you from that point.
Yeah, I can remember lots of things right back to being very little, including the first time I ever jumped. I can remember being handed a bottle. I can remember a lot of things. I've got a very good memory.
Yeah, but what about when you went to school? Do you remember a lot of that, or is it kind of like a blur for you?
Well, yeah, some bits are like a blur, but you know, it is because it's time, isn't it? And everything smooches together. And I'm 49 years old. I left school in 1986. To some people, that's an entire lifetime ago. So, of course, when you get older, you kind of squish it all in, and it is a bit of a blur because your whole life is a blur. It goes by like that.
Mm-hmm. You do develop false memories as well, don't you? You know. You might think you might think something's like it. I mean, I've done it before. I've thought of somewhere that I think, I remember that well, and you go there and it's completely different to what you remember. You know. So you spent sort of years thinking about how this place was, but when you get there, it's not quite the way you remember it. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and see, that's the thing, David. That's why I asked you, like, if you remember your lifetime. And with you are a lot like me, because I feel like there's parts of your life that you probably remember as being a baby and as a toddler, but there's probably like some parts of your life that you don't remember, and it makes you think, why is it that I don't remember that part of my life?
I mean, I can actually, it might sound silly, I've never told you this before, Sacha. I can actually remember beginning to walk.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I can actually remember taking my first steps. Is that a false memory? Because that's kind of where I was coming from. I do actually remember.
Well, I talked to my mum about the things that I can remember, and she's just like, yeah, that happened. Yeah, we did have those curtains. Yeah, the room did look like that. Yeah, my next door neighbour's house did look like everything. I can just remember everything about where we lived. And we moved out of that place when I was 4. So I've got so many memories and even my sister, when she was born, I remember her coming home. I remember, this is how old I am. I remember rolling blackouts because I ran into a brick wall and cut my head open and thought I was dying. But, because I had blood in my eye. I thought the world was coming to an end.
But that is amazing. But that is amazing that you remember that, because for me, there's a certain, like, that part of my life I don't remember. And the only thing that I can come up with, and this is so weird because I've never talked to David. This is my first time talking to him, being on the show. But this is what I feel. I feel with you, David, I feel like you have been abducted by aliens more than usual.
Really?
When you were a child, yes. I feel like for some reason I heard abduction for you. And for me, I feel like I've been abducted. That's probably why we don't remember certain things of our life, because we're alien abductors. We've been abducted as a child.
I've got no memories of that at all, but I'll tell you something. You tell him now, Sacha.
I've been abducted by aliens several times. I've had lots of UFO sightings. My entire life is based around alien abduction, and people who get abducted. I support a lot of people who have been abducted, and they support me. It's a little support group that I've got going over the years. And yeah, I do conference talks and write a blog and research this all the time. And it is basically my entire life.
Yeah. I have no recollection of anything to do with any alien abductions. I believe in them, and I believe, I've seen a UFO, or seen several UFOs, but I don't have any recollections of abductions. Or maybe I'm not supposed to anyway, but,
Yeah, I know. That's the thing that a lot of people don't understand, that some of us, we're not supposed to remember that we were abducted. We're not supposed to remember, because the reason why I say that is because their vibration is higher than ours. Their technology is higher than ours. And everything that, but the world, their technology, the spaceships and all that stuff that they have are way higher than what we have. So that's kind of like something that you're not supposed to remember. You might have like images in your head that what they look like, but you're not supposed to ever remember. You might have encounters and like see a spaceship going over your car or over your house, but you're not supposed to remember. Now, some people are able to remember, I guess, because it happened to them, and then others we're not supposed to remember because there's a somewhere there that there's something that doesn't want you to remember, or is it because we just don't want to remember? So yeah, that's something that's kind of interesting, because I know, and it's so weird that I'm going to say this, but I want to say 9 out of 10 psychics in life have been always, how can I put it? It's like researched with aliens. And I've known that for many years that psychics are always, there's something between the aliens and the psychics. There's something there. And I've always asked a lot of people that with, them being there, they're in some way they're connected to us. A lot of people don't see that, but I've been told, and I've even been told by a friend of mine, that the aliens are our ancestors too. So I'm just saying.
I mean, we know that from the Kinsellas, don't we, Sacha? The connection between being psychic and the alien connection. And
everybody else that I know that I've known over
especially
the past 15 years. It's actually synonymous, David. I don't know a single abductee that isn't like completely sensitive, and I think it's because we've been exposed to telepathy, and often from being babies we've been taken, and so because they communicate telepathically, we communicate with them telepathically, and therefore we are telepathic, and that is how we can pick up on people's moods, their thoughts, whatever's going on with them, and that's how we can read people and read places and events that have happened in certain places, and how people who are trapped in those places have died, things like that. It's part of who we are.
Exactly. And you know what? That's very well said, because that is true. There's a lot that, even though we're, people live in a human experience, but like I've always said, we don't know everything. But I will tell you that there's a lot of, and I know this for a fact, there's a lot of portals that have been opened that shouldn't be open, but a lot of people are just not prepared for what 2020 has. And I will tell you, this year, I want to say it's going to be crazy. Out of all the years that we've had, I want to say that this year is it's going to be the craziest. A lot of people are going
to... Cray, baby.
In what way? I mean, we've already had crazy weather, when here it's never stopped raining, is it, Sacha? In Australia, they've got, Australia's on fire. Well, it's not quite now. It's been put out, most of it, but,
Yay!
But I mean, in what way crazy do you think, Chris?
The only thing that I can come up with psychically, I want to say that there's going to be a lot of sightings for people that don't believe that they're going to experience paranormal phenomenon, either with alien or some kind of weird occurrences, that something on the other side is going to come through this dimension, and then there's going to be a lot of people scared what they're going to see. And I'm feeling that there's going to be a lot of weird stuff going on this year, and I feel it. I can't explain it. It's just something that I feel, but I just can't describe the feeling. It's kind of eerie, just to put it that way.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, you're not the first one I've heard say that either.
Yeah, and then the weather's been kind of weird too. Like everything that usually doesn't happen in different states, it's happening. So that's telling you that there's something big coming. Big.
A bit of rapture.
Yeah. Yep. And that's scary when you think about it, because you're just like, oh my God, how much time do we have on here on Earth? Well, the way I see it, with all these weird occurrences with the weather and, with all the stuff that I just said, I want to say that our time on Earth is limited. Very limited. So in other words, we don't have much time. I'm just going to leave it as that. We have very Very little time.
What do you mean personally? We're not here for very long. We get about maybe 80 or 90 years if we're lucky. Or are you talking about the whole planet's going to...
Yeah. I say the whole planet, something big is going to happen. I just don't know what it is. And hope to God that, that we're here to some of us might experience what it is, but some of us won't.
Right. Well, let's hope you're wrong.
Mm-hmm. I hope so too.
So talking about your aliens,
with my predictions are never wrong. So that
really, oh right. So I'll tell you what, Chris. I want to ask you a question. I've told Sacha this story before, but when I was about probably 3 years old, I witnessed a purple mist coming towards me from my cot, and it swirled around the room, and it terrified me basically. And it swirled around the room and then went back out the door. My father came in, hearing me screaming, and I was telling him as in baby talk, can't you see it, sort of thing, and he couldn't see it. So have you got any ideas what that purple mist might have been?
Honestly, I want to say that was more of because this is what I heard when you said that. I heard archangel. It was our archangel paying a visit to you.
Oh right.
That's what I heard. So it was, in other words, so I'm being told that and as a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you something, David. I don't know if you've been told this, but for you to be on the radio and on the UK, the paranormal radio show that you have, you've always had, in every lifetime, had a mic with you. You've always been broadcasted in every lifetime. Yes, you have.
That's a surprise to me.
So in other words, this is what God gave you. God gave you the gift to be heard, because and this is what is true, is that as a child, I'm being told that as a child you were very, very quiet. Yeah. And like they say, the ones that are quiet have a voice, and you have that voice.
Yeah, I was very quiet actually as a kid. Yeah, you're right.
And so was I. I was very quiet as a child. I kept to myself. So that tells us is that we were brought up that way because later in life we were going to do something big. So with you being on the radio, what I was told to tell you is that you are here to help people, to spread the knowledge and the wisdom that you know, everything that everything that you discuss, whoever you have on your shows. In other words, you were here to bring light into people's lives, to be aware of everything.
Nice,
that is nice. Yeah, thank you for that. It's I do my best, and I do try to make it fairly light-hearted if I can. But thanks for that, Chris. It's a nice comment. I hope it's true. I mean, I believe you. I believe what you said. And I shall just carry on doing doing my best. Funny thing is, I've only just been doing this for a year now. Sacha was on about this time last year, weren't you, Sacha? Well, it might have been about February time, I think, when I first actually started, but I've only been doing it a year. But
my first radio show of my own was in 2012, but 2006 was the first time I went on one. I went on the Brian Vike show, and then I went on Jeff Ren's.
And there's no stopping you, is there?
No.
But, I think that was a nice comment. Thank you, Chris. I very much appreciate that.
And I honestly do really mean that, because that's what I was told to tell you. It's not something that I felt from my heart. It was psychically what I was getting from your energy field. So I was told to share that with you, because even though you said you've been doing this a couple of weeks, but I'm being told that you've done this
for
life.
About a year.
Yeah, so you are, this is what God gave you, this gift to be heard.
Interesting. I mean, I should say now, I'm not actually a believer in God as such. I do believe in the afterlife, and I do believe there is something else after, but I can't actually accept a God as such. But maybe it's just a matter of how you see things. I don't know. But what about you, Sacha? Are you a believer in God?
Yeah, I believe in God, but I don't believe in the God that man's created. I believe that there's an awareness that the universe is actually consciousness, and that there's an awareness, and that it's aware of us, and if you're aware of it, it becomes aware that you're aware of it, and then it kind of interacts with you. And religion has tried to kind of make sense of that, and explain it, and all kinds of other cults and things, and other types of religion, all of this saying that there's an awareness up there, and it's aware of us, and as the aliens would say, I am one with one who is all.
Yeah. I mean, really, you're saying the same thing as well. I have got that awareness of the other side, and after.
Yeah.
So maybe
I think all these religions, they're all kind of thought forms. They're all sort of a collective consciousness. So you've got your Christian collective consciousness, you've got your Buddhist, you've got your Hindu, and whatever your mind and body energy goes into, whichever thought form, you're all creating together, and that's where you go, because that's where you go.
Yeah, it's like a focus point, I suppose. It's and that's what your God is, isn't it? I suppose a focus point.
God is above all of that. God is just creation, and it's just clumsily explained. Because you cannot quantify something like that. You cannot. How can you speak of the unspeakable, the unknowable, the actuality? It's beyond our grasp.
I mean, I've got quite an acceptance. I've never seen an angel, but I've understood that people have seen them. And, I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen angels, Sacha, or.
I wish, but you know what? I don't think they're all nice. Angels all have a mission, and some of it is quite cold, and I don't think they have feelings. I think, they have a job to do, and that's basically what they are. They're the archetypal pattern of whatever, So, we have this thing where all angels are fluffy. Well, actually, there's a very fine line in between what is angelic and what is demonic. When you look at the processes and the jobs that these 72 angels have to do, each one is a different, element, and it does a different thing. So if you're going to get down to, and knocking aside, Angel Michael, the fluffy, when you take that dressing off it, in biblical Old Testament terms, the angels, they're angels of war, angels of wrath, etc., etc.
Yeah, that's the point. Yeah, it's just that when Chris mentioned the archangel visit that I supposedly had, which I don't disprove. I mean, the thing is, Chris, why was I?
And angels show themselves as angels, don't they?
Yeah. I mean,
they're not shy.
No, but that purple mist, Chris, when it was going back to why was I so terrified when I didn't know anything about what a ghost or anything was? I was too young.
I guess it's because you must have had a past life of being terrified by a spirit, but it wasn't something that was meant to terrify. It was more of a beautiful present, but since you had a past life of being terrified, because I was told that you were terrified in one of your lifetimes by something that I'm not going to discuss, you were terrified by something that terrified you because you remember it, and when you saw that light, you were just like, you were just like terrified because you thought it was something that was going to reoccur from a previous life into this life, and that's why you were terrified.
Well, because that's always puzzled me, being a child, not knowing anything about ghosts or anything, horrible, to actually be terrified by it. But maybe that's why it disappeared out of the room pretty quick, because it did actually sort of swirl around, and I saw it actually disappearing back out of the room. So maybe my screaming might have made it go quickly or something.
Maybe you frightened it, David.
Or maybe I frightened it, yeah. But I have heard that before, a bit about the seeing of the purple. The purple colour seems to be quite important. That's why
purple's the colour of consciousness.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to tell you now that I got. Now you're talking purple. You know what I got when you said purple again?
Oh wow!
I got royalty.
Royalty.
Oh,
so purple.
Oh no, I'm going to be.
So that's what I got.
I'm not going to be in line for the throne as well now.
No, but maybe in your past life, David. Maybe in your past life, you were somebody royal.
Yeah. Well, we'll leave that there, I think. Anyway,
so just put it this way.
Yeah, go on.
Just put it this way. You were someone very important. That's all I'm going to leave it with.
Well,
you were someone very important.
Well, I think we're all important in our own ways. It's
Yeah.
We all put our little bit in making everything what it is, and some in a bad way, some in a good way, but we all try to do our best, I think, most of us, but,
Yeah.
Make cock-ups along the way, but...
David, good luck with, what you're going to be doing. I mean, it sounds amazing that you're going to be helping all those people, and especially abductees.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll come to you for some help, but I'll certainly I think I'll probably need some help along that way. But anyway, Chris, thanks very much for coming on. Is there anything more you'd like to tell us about? I mean, how can people get in touch with you if they need to?
Well, they want to reach me, they can find me on Facebook. If they have Facebook, it's Chris Sacha Garcia.
Yeah.
Or they can reach me at my own personal cell phone, 210-974-3470. Again, 210-974-3470. Or they can email me at garcia187bluelove@gmail.com.
Okay. Well, what I'll do, Chris, as I say, when this show goes out next week, I'll put some links on the page and everything, and put a few things that you've been up to and everything like that. But anyway, it's been a pleasure having you on, and thank you, Sacha, for helping out. And you've helped.
Oh, it's been illuminating. I've really enjoyed it. Good. Actually, it's been a real journey into mystery.
Yeah, it was good though, because I can honestly say that I felt a lot of good energy with you both, and it's just amazing. I'm looking forward to actually hearing the archives. How I sound, because I always. Like to hear the way I sound, because there's some things that when I was first on radio, I'm not kidding you, I was nervous. But then after that, people were like, "Come on,
join
Chris,
the club.
You can do this, you can yeah. But now it's like, as time goes on, it's something that I'm getting used to, because I know that, like I said, for us to be doing what we do, I feel like there's something bigger on the other side for us doing this, what we do, being on the radio or being a guest. I feel that people that we need to be heard, and I feel like people that do like radio shows or radio hosts, they have a bigger purpose, and it's God is just preparing them for something bigger.
Yeah.
On that point, thank you very much, Chris. It's been a pleasure. And as I say, I will put all the links on the page when it goes out. So anyway, thank you, Sacha and Chris, for helping out on the show. And
you're welcome.
Bye, Chris. I'll speak to you again sometime. Keep in touch.
Keep in touch, David. And God bless you.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Sacha.
Good luck with all of that.
Bye. Bye-bye. Thank you very much. You've been listening to the Paranormal UK Radio Network. I'm David Young. This is Paranormal Dimensions. Thank you, and join us again next week. Thank you. Bye.
Listen to them. Children of the night. What music they make.
Paranormal Dimensions is a regular feature on Mondays on the Paranormal UK Radio Network.